Chris and Corey met in the summer of 1998.
They tried to make it the summer of '69 and got kicked out of scout camp.
They now tell stories on podcasts under the guise of 80s movies reviews.
You're listening to That's Basically the 80s.
Through dangers untold and hardships unnumbered, I have fought my way here to the castle beyond the Goblin City to take back the child that you have stolen. For my will is as strong as yours, and my kingdom is as great.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yo.
For round 2.5 or 3 or whatever we've got going on here.
We're doing the file and finish on this podcast, except for it's like the restart.
Yeah.
And finish later. So if you're hearing this, then that means that our recording actually worked. We're recording from our Rode software now because our computer is a computer. And it sucks.
Thanks, Dell, for being a piece of shit.
Computers just in general kind of do that, you know.
Yeah, once they get to be past
unreliable.
6 months old, after you spend $2,000 on them, and then
as soon as you pay it off, they're like, fuck, I'm dead.
Yep. So mine died right away because I bought it that day. So here we are. We are back. Thank you, everybody. This is That's Basically the 80s with Chris and Corey.
Yep, I'm Corey.
And I'm Chris. And we actually have a special guest today at my feet, my little dog, Boo.
What's up, Boo?
He's just down there fucking relaxing, taking a nap.
He's kind of nervous. He's like, I've never been on a talk show before.
I'm 10 years old and I've never talked to anybody. I've yelled at him through the fucking window.
Right.
And then when they come home, or when they come in the house, I run off like a little piece of shit.
He's just guarding the house, man.
That's right.
It's actually really cool that your dog is guest starring with us because he looks just like fucking,
the little guy with the eye patch. Yelper, what's his name?
It is something that is,
of course we don't remember their names. I remember Ludo.
Ludo. The dog's name is like something to do with pussy lips.
Sir Edgar.
Labia.
Sir Edgar Pussy Lips.
The second.
I'm actually trying to find it here, but I can't ever spell Labyrinth correctly.
That is the secret to the Labyrinth. Jareth fucking took the baby and he's like, spell Labyrinth, bitch. And she's like, fuck, you got me.
Yeah, it's the most retarded thing. I don't even know. So I'm trying to look on IMDb right now for Labyrinth, and I just typed in Jennifer Connelly, and that was way easier.
Yep.
And then you go through her little movie history, so also not paid for by IMDb.
The dog's name, or the guy's name is Didymus, yeah. And I was thinking of like epididymis, which is not anything to do with a vagina.
Epididymis. So anyways, we're doing the Labyrinth, of course, and
the epididymis is like the little duct that you shoot your load out of.
Why would you know that?
Because I work in a hospital and I teach anatomy and physiology at a college.
No, he just studies dicks. He's like, I want to know what's shooting in my face.
It's a highly convoluted duct behind the testes along with which sperm passes to the vas deferens.
And you've touched many of these, huh?
And the dog has an eye patch, so he's like, I'm going to get named after the thing that took out my eye.
So I didn't need to get named after Corey.
Well, you know.
It's fucked up.
Win some, you lose some.
All right, so that's balls and
that's the start of the podcast.
Fucking nutting in your eye, I guess.
This is what you get into when you listen to this show, I guess.
So we're watching. We always say that. We're watching this. No, we're fucking half-ass talking about Labyrinth. Yeah. This was a Patreon choice. We put a vote up between Legend and Labyrinth, and David Bowie's dick, of course.
Of course, it
took
won
first. So before we jump way into this movie, I'm kind of thinking, Corey, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I'm talking about that trunk.
Yep.
Why on earth would they make a movie that, we'll talk about this because we talked about this last time and then it got deleted, debated whether or not this was a kid's movie or not. But on the off chance that it is a kid's movie, why put David Bowie out there with them stretchy pants on and his fucking dick hanging out?
I don't know. I think that, Jim Henson's just like, he's like, everything, we need a Muppet, stuff that, we need a Muppet, stuff that one. Oh, there's Didymus, stuff him up, stuff that motherfucker over there. And then he's over there dancing the magic dance, and Jim Henson just stuffed him up. He's like, look,
He just walks over there and just fucking gets it, just stuffs something in there. He's like, fuck it, that looks good.
Yep. We got Didymus. We might need Dickymus. Who knows?
That's right.
Jim Henson's a wild motherfucker.
So if anybody's got any theories about this, go ahead and let us know. You know, maybe you talked with David Bowie back in the day. Jennifer Connelly, we know you're listening, so chime in.
Yeah, I'd like to hear David Bowie answer this, honestly.
Yeah. David Bowie and Patrick Swayze are up there talking about their fucking giant dicks right now.
He's got a lot to answer for. And by a lot, I mean a lot of dick in those pants.
David Bowie comes strolling in, just fucking all dick and tight pants.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Swayze tries to roundhouse kick his dick off, and it's like a unstoppable force, immovable object connecting, and that's how
that's how a dog loses an eye.
I was gonna say that's how angels are made, but
same thing though, really.
For sure.
So yep, that is David Bowie and his dick. I'm sure that we'll not address that anymore throughout the movie.
Yeah, like I said, I wanted to get that fucking elephant out of the room right away.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the movie starts out and Jennifer Connelly is just like
Major Nerdville,
hanging out, trying to remember like that passage to the book, right? And then she is like, fuck, I can never remember the one part of the book.
Right, because she's out there cosplaying, you know, a little bit of LARPing out in the rain, and she's just reciting it to her dog. And then the owl is over there, and the owl's like, fuck, she's good. She can never remember that last line, though.
The owl's like, fuck, she's really good. And then his owl friend is like, who?
Bad joke.
He just looks at him like, you fucking owl bitch, I swear to God. This joke never gets old, does it?
So yeah, then she's like, oh, fuck, I'm late.
Uh-huh.
And then it starts downpouring, and she's hauling ass home. It kind of had like a Ferris Bueller feel to me, you know. She's just running through backyards, jumping over swimming pools.
Oh yeah, like at the end trying to get home.
Yeah, she had to crawl through an obstacle course. There was two dudes laying there in Speedos. She has to stop and talk to one of them for a minute, you know, give her number out.
She has to flirt with Ferris Bueller's dad in a car real quick.
Right, for sure. I think at one point they actually, like, Ferris and what's her name in the movie, Sarah?
Sure, I have no idea.
Go running across each other and just stop, and they're like, where the fuck you going? And he's like, home. And she's like, oh, where the fuck you going?
Her name's Sarah Williams.
Damn, I'm so good at this. And then they just cross, you know, and then you go, Ferris goes home and Sarah goes home, and then she gets yelled at, which is sad.
Yeah.
You know,
is it her stepmom or her dad that yells? Her stepmom yells at her,
Her
right?
stepmom, yeah. She catches her at the door, and she makes the dog go to the garage.
Right.
And then she's like, motherfucker, you're always late. You know, me and your dad go out, and we get 2 shots of tequila, and then we play darts all night, and then we come back, and you know what we do.
And we play darts.
Yeah. So she was pretty pissed, you know. She doesn't obviously has a hard time getting along with her stepmother.
Uh-huh.
And so she's like, fuck you.
She's like, whatever, I was LARPing with my friends. And she's like, you don't got any friends? And she's like, bet. But I was still LARPing.
Yeah, I was out there LARPing. Just because they're pretend friends doesn't mean they're not real friends.
Right. So, and then like her dad comes in and he's like, what the fuck? Right? And then he's all mad that everybody's screaming and yelling at each other.
And the mom's like, handle that shit. I'm going to be in the car.
And then he's like, well, we're going on a dinner date. You watch the baby. Right?
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to break down this door if you don't let me in. And she's like, just leave me alone. He's like, fuck, okay, we'll just feed the baby. You know, we're out of here. And then she's like, oh, nice try talking to me. You guys really care, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of does like a pan of her room, which I kind of wanted to talk about her room a little bit.
Okay.
Just because how cool are all of the bedrooms in all of these 80s movies that we watch?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of like set design and everything that went into making these things.
A lot of detail in every movie. I mean, we've talked about Ferris Bueller already, and then there was Lost Boys, and this movie. What other movies have had really cool just bedrooms? Like you said, just a lot of detail.
Yeah, and I think most of the movies we've watched have had bedrooms in them for sure.
At least a room. Yeah.
Can't think of any that haven't. But actually, while we're on the subject, one of our friends, horror dads, they have an episode that came out. Oh, it's been a while ago, but it was like top 10 horror bedrooms, and they like went through like all their favorite horror movies and shouted out like the bedrooms of their favorite ones. And
do you remember any of them on the list?
What's that one where like it was remade? I can't remember what the movie was in the 80s, but like Shia LaBeouf is like on home arrest, and then like he sees a neighbor like kill someone, and he's like, fuck, I can't get out of here.
Okay.
That one. And then I think they shouted out fucking the bloodiest guy in the world in Friday the 13th.
For
No,
sure.
in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Johnny
Johnny
Depp.
Depp.
Yeah, I think they shouted out his bedroom as well in that one.
Nice.
But
Well,
yeah.
good job.
we wanted to
At
shout out
Horror
those
Dads.
guys. Those guys are awesome.
Check them out on Instagram. Actually, look at our Instagram and then see the tag posts.
Ooh,
Yeah.
marketing 101.
That's right. So yeah, just her bedroom, because all the foreshadowing in there. You've got the posters on the wall, and you've got the little stuffed animals, and you've got the bookends, and all of those things end up being part of the story. And then flash forward a couple of minutes, Toby.
Boom.
What do you think about that crying motherfucker?
He's like, I came here to do one thing and one thing only. Cry like a motherfucker.
You know, he did a great job.
He could have won the Academy Award for crying.
I think he did win the Academy Award for crying.
I mean, if my name was Toby, I probably would too.
Yeah. Which is funny because he's Toby in the movie, Toby in real life.
It's probably because he kept forgetting his name. They're like, we need Toby on set. And he's just sitting there with his fucking binky.
What if he's like the fucking baby in Roger Rabbit? He's just crying all the time. And then when the set's done, he's like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Where's my stogie? I want this fucking sweet ass. We were
Yeah.
talking about pussy a minute ago. Where'd it go?
Where you at, Toots? Did that baby just call him Toots? Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, and then Toby's crying, and then Sarah is just like, fucking stop, man. And he's like, no, that's what they're paying me for. And she's like, all right, well, Goblin King, take you away.
Right. And this is where
And she kind of has like this inner turmoil. She's like, man, he could take you. He's like, and then she's like, well, I guess I don't really want him to take you, but maybe I do. And then that's when like all the goblins show up, right?
Yeah, and the goblins are like, say the words. And she says some bullshit, and they're like, that's not the words.
That was closed, you fucking tease.
She's like,
say it, you won't.
I think that's probably where Ash got this from.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that's the fucking words, guys. I said it.
Too, we're out to. But yeah, then Jareth's like fucking close enough. He shows up and he's like, this baby's mine now. And she's like, hey.
And then you got the crystal balls dancing around.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet.
He's like, check it out. I'm going to abduct your infant little brother, and in exchange, I'll give you a snow globe. Without the like.
With nothing inside,
Nope.
no stand.
It's more of just a ball.
Yeah, just a clear ball.
Does it do anything? Nope, it does not.
But it's plastic.
It does sit in your hand, unless you drop it.
Yep. But if you dropped it, it might not break.
Right. And she's like, give him back. And he's like, nope. But if you want him, come find me in my labyrinth.
Right.
Or actually just spell labyrinth.
I would be fucked.
Yeah.
Big time.
I like to buy a vowel.
Be like, all right, I know it starts with lab, L-A-B. I've got that. Then after that, I'm so
Yeah,
done.
I would just like Wheel of Fortune that shit. Like, can I buy an L and can I buy an R and a Y? Because I know like TH is at the end.
Right.
It's just like that in between jumble.
Yeah. Is it L-A-B-R-Y, L-A-B-I-R? I'm sure there's a silent J somewhere.
I saw this.
Carry the two.
I saw this Wheel of Fortune episode the other day, and it was it said BITC blank 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 S the future, and the guy's like, bitches is the future. And then like Pat Sajak whatever is like, what the fuck? And some other lady was like, Bitcoin is the future. The guy's like, oh my god, he's also embarrassed. But I was like, to be fair, like bitches is the future.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's cool because like he actually said bitches is the future.
Bitches.
Yeah.
That's like a double S.
Right.
Something like that. That's
That's
straight out of
awesome.
the ghetto.
This is so cool. But yeah, he didn't win.
You know what I kind of want to see? Imagine this, if you will. A bunch of gangster rappers from the 90s on Wheel of Fortune.
That'd be kind of fun.
You know, you got fucking Busta Rhymes out there. You got Coolio out there. You got DMX out there. All just...
Well, they kind of done some of that stuff in like Saturday Night Live jokes and stuff, right?
Yeah, they did the Sean Connery. And,
Yeah. And I think I've seen some, like Dave Chappelle did one where it was Jeopardy, but...
Oh, yeah, Jeopardy. Celebrity Jeopardy
yeah,
and whatnot.
Celebrity Jeopardies and stuff. And there's one that Dave Chappelle did where he had like some, like a guy that like does hair in Compton, and then like some like a fat ass white lady named Debbie or something, and like just a bunch of like different cliches and stuff.
Like all the stereotypes, just
Right.
throw it on there and just let them clash it out.
Yeah.
I love it.
But
Some redneck named Hick.
yeah.
So, anyways, that's Wheel of Fortune. I wanted to bring this up again because we kind of mentioned this on our Ghost podcast. But just imagine, maybe we can get a little deeper into this, maybe not. because I do like the idea how this was Jennifer Connelly and David Bowie.
Uh-huh.
But I love the idea of this movie, but more goth, Winona Ryder,
Oh, yeah.
Alice Cooper.
And when you say Ghost Podcast, you mean the one that we recorded that didn't record and then it's not out? Not like, because I don't want people to be like, oh, let me go search. They did Ghost? Sweet. Because we haven't done that yet.
No, it's an actual ghost podcast. If you can find it, just go to Google and look at, like, that's basically the 80s and see if you can find our ghost podcast.
Bring it back for us. But yeah, we did talk about that, the Winona Ryder goth version of
Right,
this.
you
which
pull
would be
her
pretty
straight
cool.
out of Beetlejuice,
Mm-hmm.
and then you throw Alice Cooper in there with black leather pants on, his black makeup. He's got like a fucking whip, and he's just slapping his leg, and just... And then, because the cool thing is, we've both seen Alice Cooper live.
Right.
And, he deals with babies.
Mm-hmm.
He literally fucking kills a baby on stage.
Yep.
It's granted,
Fake.
it's a two-headed baby. One's a werewolf baby and one's a little demon baby. But it's maybe that's what Toby's gonna be. Maybe he's
Right.
just
Yeah, he'd be like slapping his leg with his leather pants, and he'd be like, the only way to get your baby back is if you feed my Frankenstein. And then she's like, what if I feed on your Frankenstein? He's like, wait, yours is way better. Where's that baby at? Quick, someone bring it quick.
that baby's over there just in the corner, fucking smoking a stogie.
Right.
Like just
Time
got
to-
like a whole harem of fine ass women around him, and then
Time to get back on set.
that one-eyed patch dog over there. He's just sitting there petting him. He's like, "Fuck, man, this is the life."
Epididymis.
Yeah, Steve's feeding him grapes. So
Anyways, yeah, that's Winona Ryder and Alice Cooper, right?
what do you think if they made a new, like a remake of The Labyrinth? Who would you pick for your artist?
Like the artist that played the Goblin King.
Yeah, who'd you pick if you were to remake it? Who would you throw in there?
Does it have to be a musician?
Somebody that can sing. I mean, because he's got to play some songs.
I got nothing.
I got one. And I'm
Okay.
thinking, who's the Bring Me the Horizon singer?
Oliver Sykes.
I think
Oliver Skies.
Yeah, I think he could be a good Jareth.
Ollie Sykes.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's got the feel for it. Or, yeah, I think that's who I'd pick. But I don't know for the actress. The only person I could think of that is around that age is Millie Bobby Brown. Could play the actress.
Yeah.
But
I could play the singer.
you could play the singer. You've got the pants for it.
Dance the magic dance.
I could borrow you some stretchy pants. We could fucking stuff a potato down there.
Well, we don't need to do that part.
Right, you don't need the potato. So, anyways, should we talk anything about the Labyrinth?
Probably not. So he's like, bitch, meet me in my labyrinth and you get your baby back. And then he fucks off and then he leaves her at the entrance of the labyrinth.
Right, and then that's when we get the cranky motherfucker,
Yeah.
not Hogwarts,
Higgins.
not
Hobble.
Hibble.
Hibble.
Introduce
Hoggle.
Hoggle
He's
taking a
cool.
whiz in the pool.
Yeah, he's just peeing on that pool. And then she shows up and she's like, what the hell? And he's like, just
Oh fuck! Just he's like, yeah, Jim Henson stuffed this too, you
Yeah.
know. She's like, I can see. Fuck.
That's so dumb. He's like, let me finish peeing and then I'll get to you. And he's like, what do you want? And she's like, I got to get to the labyrinth. Can you help me? And he's like, fuck no.
Fuck no! I'm gonna go kill these fairies.
Yeah, I got shit to do.
Right? He's out there just fucking working. You know, he's got family to feed.
Yeah.
You know, he's got kids to take care of. He's got bills to pay. So what does he do? He goes out there and
Starts killing fairies.
yeah, he just sprays them with his little fairy dust. And I don't know, what do you use to kill a fairy?
Apparently that.
Yeah, it's
I've
probably
never-
like an anthrax spray or arsenic, or maybe it's just like cocaine.
Could
Maybe
be.
they just can't handle it. It just makes their wings flap too fast and then they die.
Just have a heart attack.
Yeah,
That'd be horrifying.
yeah. You know,
So she's like, okay, well,
got to get in
I
there.
got to get in there. And then, so doesn't she go in herself then?
Yeah,
Or does
he's like the door is right there,
He's
and then
like,
it was
oh,
right
yeah.
next to her.
Yeah, I can help you. You're standing next to it. And she's like, oh, fuck.
Well, all
Thank
right, go in here, and then that's when she goes and starts running, and
Is that when she sees the worm first?
yeah, she's just left or right,
Yeah,
and she
she's
just
like-
starts running.
She's like, what's up, worm? And he's like, just wearing a fucking hat. What about you?
Just sitting here with my bow tie and a hat. You want to come inside for some tea with the
He
missus?
invites her into her little ass house. Like, sure, I'll be in a minute. I'm not fucking Alice in Wonderland. But then she's like, hey, do you know how to get to Labyrinth? And he's like, fuck no, I'm a worm.
I'm just a worm.
Right. That was probably one of my favorite parts. He's
Yeah.
just like, God, no, I have no idea.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a worm. What do you want from me? I
Right.
do worm stuff and I drink tea.
And he worm fucked her too, because then she's like, well, okay, should I go left or right? And he's like, go right. And then she walks off, and he's like, thank God she didn't go left. She would have got right to the library. She would have been right to the castle.
This movie had been over fast.
Wouldn't it be cool if, like, Jareth's just, like, sitting there singing, and then she just comes walking in, and he's like, the fuck, how'd you get here so fast? And she's like, oh, I asked that worm outside. And he's like, God damn it. You asked Toby? And she's like, no, it wasn't him. You asked Hibbard? That wasn't him. It was that little worm guy. And he's like, does he wear a top hat? He's like, son of a bitch.
I thought that guy knew better. I should have went in for tea with him and his wife the other day.
That'd be cool. He just takes the baby and leaves.
Well, we're out of here, so I guess next time maybe.
We'll see you in Labyrinth 2 or something, right?
Right.
So yeah, she goes the long way, and then shit just kind of starts to get hairy. That's when she's like trying to mark her way, right?
Right, that's when she's marking with the lipstick, and then you got the little fucking brownie guys turning the bricks over.
Yeah, I completely forgot about them.
Yeah, and
they're fucking with her.
Yeah, so because she's trying to cheat, right? And then that's when she ends up with the top up, top down guys, the guys with their heads out of their asses and then the heads out of their neck, whatever the fuck they are.
They kind of looked like the cards from Alice in Wonderland as well. Like if they had heads on top and bottom,
right? That's what they kind of look like. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're just like guards. And then she's like, "Which door do I go in?" And they're like, "We're not going to tell you. One of us lies and one of us doesn't."
Right, and then she freaking mind scrambles them.
Yeah, she's like, "All right, well,
would this guy tell me the truth?"
He's like, "Oh, yes."
No.
Wait.
Yes. Huh? And then she's like, "Well, if you this, that, what, and ever." And she's like, "So that's the right door." And she goes in there and fucking falls to her death.
Right.
Movie's over.
They're like, "Ha, it was me that lies all the time." Gotcha.
We both lie.
Right. Then she like falls down into the helping hands and everything, right?
Right.
And they're all making faces like, "Oh, which way do you want to go?"
Grabbing onto her.
Lower me down onto that Spock.
It's messed up again.
Yep.
She's like, is your hand supposed to be up my skirt like that? Well, I'm just holding you here.
My job is very hard.
She's like, I can tell. Anyway, so they're like, well, which way do you want to go? Up or down?
She's like, well, I've already been up, so I guess keep going down. And they're like, okay. And they push
just
her down.
let go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she chose down.
Right.
Fuck.
And she lands on the ground and then hobbles over there again.
Right.
And he's like, oh, shit.
She's like, you made it to the oubliette.
The oubliette, yeah. And he's like, do you know what an oubliette is? She's like,
is it a bedroom?
It's a fucking place where people get put that they want us to forget about.
Right.
And then he's like, yeah, I can get you out of here. And she's like, oh, shit. Now you want to help me?
He's like, oh, fuck, no, I can't.
Right. And isn't that when she's like, you're my friend, I'm going to give you my plastic necklace. And
right.
Like,
she's
oh,
like, here, you
yeah.
can have this bracelet. And he's like, what is this made out of? And she says, plastic. He's like, oh, fuck, plastic?
Could you give me a pearl necklace? Wait, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, just let's, here, the bed's over here.
She's like, I can't give you a pearl necklace. And he's like, and it's David Bowie dressed up as her. You didn't notice my dick? I got you again, Hobble.
It's because David Bowie's hiding as that fucking,
right, because he was hiding as the
bag lady person.
Just a few minutes later, yeah. But he was hiding as Sarah instead right there.
He's like, man, my face is right at that height. I should have noticed, but I was distracted by the plastic.
Why do you think that dog's got an eye patch? So then he's like, okay, cool, let's... I'm going to help you. And then they start leaving. And then all the rock people are like, you're going the wrong way.
No,
Watch
we're not.
out,
Shut
bitch.
up.
And then he like stops and hassles one of them. He's like, you guys are lying. And they're like, I know, but this is our job and we never get to do it. Can we please say it?
And how often people walk through here that are
Right.
trying to get to the center?
I like that one guy. He's like so excited. Can I please say it once? And he's like, okay. And he's like, turn back. He's like, fuck yes.
Fucking nailed it, guys. Do you hear that? There's a little
line.
cheer squad back there holding up like a 10, 9.9.
Like, you did great, Rocky. And then, they walk around the corner, and then there's that little bag lady, and then he's like, oh, are you helping this person? Surprise, it's David Bowie. And then he's like, Hobble, I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to throw you in the fucking bog of eternal
stench. And then he's like, don't do that. He's like, don't make me.
Here, give her this peach.
Right. And then he's like, she's my friend, though.
And he looks at Hoggle. Don't microwave another one of these peaches that I give you.
He's like, make me.
Don't you do it.
They taste good.
Anyways, that's fucked up. But should we pause there for a commercial break?
Sure.
All right. We'll be right back after these messages.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Dude, Chris,
What's up?
do you know what I fucking miss?
What's that?
Gold doubloons. You know why?
Why?
Because I fucking love them. Dude, do you know my favorite thing about gold doubloons? Collecting them. Because do you know what that means? You're fucking rich. Do you know how to get rich?
How?
Well, you make podcasts,
Like us?
right? Do you know how you get rich making podcasts?
Use.
You fucking download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And do you know what you do after that? You get them fucking gold doubloons.
Gold doubloons.
Gold doubloons. You gather them all together, and you know what you do? You fucking try to spend them, and then they're like, we don't accept gold doubloons here. And you're like, well, fucking I'll go to some place that exchanges them, and then I'll get some cash.
And then you get like
Some fucking
cash.
cash.
$400 a piece.
Yeah.
Nice.
That'd be cool. Like, I would like to exchange 2 gold doubloons, and they're like, well, that's $800 cash. And you're like, all right, give me them fucking Benjamins. How much is a Benjamin?
$100.
Yep. How much is a 50? Is that a Franklin?
That's a grant.
Oh, yeah. Put me on them grants, bitch.
Wait. Yeah. a
Yeah.
grant.
Who's Hamilton's at 20, right?
10.
Oh, fuck. Who's at 20?
Jackson.
I obviously don't know. You talk about a George Washington, and I know that's a $1 bill.
Do you want to shoot this whole thing over?
No.
Okay.
Anchor.fm.
All right.
We're back. We're back
Yeah.
again.
Guess who's back?
80s are back.
Back again. Nice. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for listening to our commercial.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what we do right after our commercial break. We normally, I, Chris, the most important person here, one of the most important people here, we like to throw, I like to throw a quick 90s or 2000s movie at Corey. He doesn't know what's coming. I don't even know if he's seen the movies. So, and then we'll talk for just a couple minutes about it. We may talk about the movie, we may not, but
It's a good chance we won't.
do you remember a badass movie that came out, I want to say it was the late 2000s, all about Star Wars, but it wasn't Star Wars. It was Fanboys. Do you remember that movie?
Just a little bit.
So let's see if we can talk about that just a little bit because it kind of
All right.
makes fun of the Star Wars fans, and I love it.
It does.
Because we're Star Wars fans.
So, friends are all together, and the original trilogy, episodes 1, 2, and 3 are going to come out.
Right.
And so they all want to go see it. And their one friend is dying of cancer, and they
Correct.
got to get to Skywalker Ranch, and break in and steal the movie so they can see it before he dies.
Correct.
And then lots of hilarity ensues.
Right, for sure.
Really
then they
great.
go on a road trip.
Mm-hmm.
And,
And they got that cool ass van.
right.
What does he call it? The fucking Millennium Falcon?
Maybe.
Probably. Doesn't he love Rush?
Yeah. All of his, because he's got an old cassette player in there, and
Right.
all the cassettes are Rush.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck, man, don't you got anything but Rush?
He's like,
And he's
all
like-
Rush all the time.
Yeah. And then he says, what about a little variety?
Rush is variety. Yeah.
Yeah. Then they end up at the gay strip bar or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and they're talking shit, and they're like, fuck, man, we better get up, because then they make him dance.
Oh, yeah.
For money.
Is that when he's like, you talking shit about Menudo?
Yeah, because it's like, you want us to strip to Menudo?
Right.
And then he breaks a bottle and
Yeah.
you talking shit about Menudo? And then they get up there and dance, and then they take off his pants, and then he had a bad lightsaber accident, and
I had a
fucking
lightsaber accident when I was younger.
his dick
I'm
is
like,
all
"Oh
pointing
my
over to the
God."
left or something.
Yeah. But yeah, they make it to like Skywalker Ranch and everything, right? And then they're like trying to break in and steal it, and then
Yeah, and there's a bunch of huge cameos in it. I know that they're like Seth Rogen's in it a couple of times.
oh yeah, because they go to the
and
Star Wars, they go to the Star Trek.
the Star Trek
convention,
convention,
yeah.
and they're talking shit and pick a bunch of
Yeah, and
fights.
Seth
with them.
Rogen's in it, and he's like a total Star Trek guy, and he's like
Right, because they end up
talking shit about Picard.
getting a hooker and taking her back to the room and didn't realize it was a hooker.
Yeah,
And then Seth Rogen came in, and he's a huge Star Wars fan, and he's like, I'm going to fuck you up, you know?
right.
And then he got the tattoo of Jar Jar Binks, and he's like, he's going to be the
He's
shit.
Jar Jar Binks, that guy's gonna be the shit. Yeah,
And then they run into another Seth Rogen,
right.
which is a big Trekkie.
Yeah,
And he's like, we're Trekkers. Trekkie is
is a
derogatory.
derogatory term. Yeah. God, I haven't seen that movie in forever.
Me
It's so
either.
good.
But then I think it's got Jay and Silent Bob in it.
Yep.
And it's got a couple of fairly good cameos in it. I don't remember
Mhm.
all of them. I think Jason Lee's in it.
Oh, William Shatner's in it.
William Shatner, yep. And he's like, fuck, I'm William Shatner. I can get anything.
Yeah.
Score anything.
Are you kidding me? I'm William Shatner. I can score anything.
Because he gives them all the plans and everything, too.
Right. Because it's like the Death Star plans of how to get in. There's like one tiny little hole and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
How to get on Skywalker Ranch.
Right.
And you got the one nerdy kid who's got real thick-ass glasses that's been hitting on the girl online.
Uh-huh.
And he goes into the fucking, like, bookstore or coffee shop with no glasses. And he's like, oh, fuck, there's that girl. She's like 12.
Right.
And her brother comes and beats the fuck out of him.
He just can't see because he's
Right.
like
He
blind
thinks that
and stuff.
she's some
Right.
older, badass, hot nerd chick, right? And so he's like, I can't wear my glasses because I look like a nerd.
Yeah, he takes them off, so he can look cool and stuff. Yeah, what a great movie. I'm going to have to rewatch it because I really liked it. But, I mean, at the end, like, they get together and then, like, their plans get foiled and then they explain to, like, all of the people at Skywalker Ranch what's going on. And they're like, okay, we're going to let him go watch the movie early. And then he goes in and watches it. And then they're all waiting and he comes out and he's like, how was it? And isn't he like, eh.
Yeah, because he can't say anything.
Right. He's like, it was okay.
Then fast forward to the very end, and they're all waiting in line and everything going in there, and then they sit down, the movie's about to start, and then they look at each other and they go,
Wait, what if it sucks? Right, yeah.
So, yeah, that's
What a great movie.
Fanboys.
I liked that one.
Yep, you know what that is?
That's definitely the 2000s.
Yep, you know it.
All right, so we are back into the Labyrinth, the Labyrinthy, Labrynthy.
The Labyrinth.
Yeah, Lawrence of the Labyrinth.
Yes.
That's a way worse movie than Lawrence of the Labia.
Yeah. I've never seen Lawrence of the Labia, though.
Me neither.
But, you know, maybe.
I've seen Coriants of the Labia once.
You've seen Coriants of the Epidemius. So, anyways, back into the Labyrinth.
Okay.
I'm sure we can talk some nonsense on this. Let's fucking jump into the old dude. Well, I don't even remember the whole sequence of the events, how this goes. Because at some point, I think she is with Hoggle, and she's walking around, and then there's an old dude that's come strolling. She's like, fuck, maybe that old guy has a bird on his head.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know. What do you think about some of these just side characters that are randomly thrown in this movie?
I don't really remember the bird guy either. Like, what I remember is that they leave, and then David Bowie's like, I'm fucking warning you. And then they show up, and there's all the little, like, guys that are attacking Ludo. And
all
then,
the little goblins.
And then Hobble's like, fuck, I'm scared. And he runs off, and he's like, I planted my exit. Now I don't have to help. And
Right.
then-
And she's like, I thought we were friends. He's like, fuck friends.
Yeah, fuck friends. I'll get my own pearl necklace.
Right.
And she's like, you said it wrong again. He's like, fuck. But then she's like, well, if only there were some rocks around, I could save him. And then a rock rolls up, and she's like, oh, convenient as hell. And she throws the rock and
Knocks
hits
out
the
Warwick
one
Davis.
Warwick Davis. And then he's like, fuck. And he moves his little bitey thing over, and then all the bitey guys bite each other, and then they run off. And then
Right.
she runs over and tries to save Ludo, and he's all yelling at her, and she's like, stop.
Stop yelling at me. I saved your life, motherfucker.
He's like, oh, okay. Well, thank you, friend.
Friend.
And then, like, later in the movie, you find out that he can just, like, call rocks to do his bidding. Like, why didn't he fucking do that already?
Right. He can just yell and rocks will come because it saves her from the bog of eternal stench. Because when the bridge falls, she's like, oh, fuck, I'm going down.
Right.
And he's like, oh, fuck, rock. And so rock jumps in there.
Uh-huh.
Then later at the end of the movie, when they're getting attacked in the Goblin City, he's like, well, why don't I just call all these rocks here? And then just, like, all of Mount Everest showed up and crushed all these goblins.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I feel like I would use that more than what he
Then
did.
just never.
But he's not really a thinker either,
No,
probably.
he's not. And so, like, she saves them, and then they go to start walking away, and it shows, like, this shot of them walking away. And that motherfucker is double kicked up.
Yeah,
He's got ass for days.
He's got all
You hear that
of the
song,
ass.
like,
all about the bass.
no, like, I'm going to do it. You can do it. Put your back into it.
Right.
And then Ludo's like, I can do it. I'll put my ass into it. But do you remember, like, the rock eater from Neverending Story?
Yep.
Like, he can call rocks. I bet he's calling him on a Saturday night, like, yo, rock eater, what you doing tonight? And he's like, fucking just think about eating some rocks. And he's like, you know. He hits him on that, like, special, what are those things, a pager? And he's like, oh, damn, I got a page from fucking Ludo. I'm about
Right.
to go get a feast.
He just yells.
He's just riding that fucking bike.
Where are you going?
Are you running away from the nothing? No, I'm about to go get something.
I'm running away. I'm hauling ass 2 to everything.
You heard of the nothing, right? This is the everything.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, anyways, they walk off, and then Ludo's like, well, fuck, I'll help you. And then they go walk, and then just Ludo falls like right through the floor.
Yeah, because they're in like a creepy woods, and and Ludo's like, oh, I'm scared. And she's like, fucking ass like that, what are you scared of?
Right.
And then all of a sudden he just falls, and she doesn't see it, and he just disappears. And then isn't that when like the fucking head throwing guys are coming up next?
Yeah, and that part's just a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, that's the scariest thing. That is what nightmares are made of for children.
I don't know what song they're singing or anything. I just go into like a coma every time that thing comes up.
Yeah, it's like Chili Down with the fucking
Head throwy guys. Gang. Yeah. And they're just throwing their heads around like, oh, throwing fucking heads. And then she's just like, I got to get out of here. And then she starts throwing their heads, and then they're like, fuck, you're only allowed to throw your own head.
And then she picks up one of their dicks and throws it across and hits another one in the head. And, you know, it's a fucking disaster, man.
Yeah, that's that nightmare fuel that Jim Henson was so good at.
Yeah, then that's when Hoggle comes back and throws her the rope and saves her again.
Yes.
And then she's like, fuck, Hoggle, you're in and you're out. You're in and you're out. You're basically Katy Perry here. You're hot and you're cold.
You call me half whole.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, well, I had to change your heart, so I want to save you again. But then he's going to fuck her up again because he gives her the peach later.
Right, that's when he gives her the peaches coming up because they made it through. Well, and then they end up in the Bog of Eternal Stench again.
Right, and so they get to the Bog of Eternal Stench, and actually, let's see here. So Ludo's gone. He's in the bog.
Right.
I think that she...
Hoggle saves her, and they're walking, and then they end up falling down a hole or something like that.
Yeah, and they're right on the edge of the bog, I think. Yeah.
Right.
Because then... I remember. So they go walking off to get saved again, and then David Bowie, his face like turns into the rock, and he's like, I'm warning you. And he's like, oh, fuck, you're here again.
Right, because he was going to throw the peach in the bog or something, right?
And he's so anyways, they're at the bog, and then that's like crumbling away, and they're trying to get out, and then they fall down nearly into it, and then Ludo's there. And they're like, oh, shit, there you are, Ludo. And he's like,
smell.
Yeah. He's like, it smells bad. And then that is where...
Epididymis shows up?
No, he shows up at the bridge.
Yeah.
Right.
In like 2 seconds. Because they're walking around the edge of the bog, and then he's guarding the bridge right there.
Okay, that's what it is, yeah. And he's like, halt! Because he's like a bad motherfucker, you know? He's like, no one can pass without my permission. And she's like, well, fuck, do I have your permission?
Well, first Hoggle's like, fuck you, and runs by, and then he's like, shit. and then Ludo goes over and he's like, well, I'm gonna cross too. And then that's when him and Ludo get in a fight,
right?
And they're like throwing each other. Well, Ludo throws him, and then he comes in and bites him and hits him with a little stick, and then Ludo breaks a branch off, and then eventually Epididymis is like, stop,
right,
you are
trespassing,
a reasonable foe. You have my honor, Sir Ludo. Yeah.
And then he's like, nobody can cross without my permission. And she's like, well, do I have your permission? And he's like, fuck, I guess so.
Yeah, go ahead. And he's like, this bridge is so sturdy.
Right. She's like, yeah, people cross this bridge all the time. And then it immediately crumbles.
Right.
And then...
that's when the rocks come in.
Yeah, and that's when he's like, oh, let me call some rocks to help us across. And I'm over here like, you couldn't have done that earlier, Ludo?
Right. And she's like, how'd you do that? And he's like, well, the rocks are my friends. Shit, man.
Who's that guy on the bike? We'll talk about him later. So, yeah, they cross, and then the dog, whose name is...
Epidus?
No,
the dog
the dog that he rides is something Ocious. Ambrosius, yeah. So Ambrosius is his dog's name, and that motherfucker's a coward, but we won't find that out till later.
Yeah, he's more of a coward than Hoggle.
Yeah, they're both about that running away life. So then, yeah, they're all together, and then he's like, we're fucking way close to the castle. It's just right over here. And they all start running and singing a song. And then Hoggle's like,
oh, here's that peach.
Are you hungry? Here's a peach. And then he's like, I'm the worst person in the world. And he leaves, and she gets all fucked up on acid or something. Yeah, and she goes into a coma. And then she like floats off into the party.
Right. She floats into the party. Well, she goes, to the party.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that's when we get another David Bowie song.
Yeah, and it's just creepy as fuck because you got all these people in like half naked clothes, like all doing this weird eyes wide shut dance shit, and then they got masks on, and there's like It's like a weird fucking like tripped out 1916 version orgy or something is what
And
I'd
she's
imagine.
dressed like
it.
Cinderella
Right?
with like the slipper and everything. And he's like, time's running out.
And then she's like, no, this ain't fucking real. And then she jumps through like a glass window, right?
Well, she takes a chair and shatters the wall.
Right, and then she ends up in a junkyard.
Yep.
With-
And that's when the
with
junk
Belina?
lady. Yeah. It's her voice. The lady that plays is Belina, yeah, from
Return to Oz.
Return to Oz.
Yeah, and then so she goes into her bedroom and she's like, shit, this is a nice room.
Yeah, because she's like, the junkyard lady's got all this shit up on top of her, and she's like, oh, come into my room, my house. You want to come into my house? Well, I got to talk like Belina. I've never seen a chicken before. That's what she sounds like, but she's like, come into my house.
Right?
And then she walks in and she's like, surprise, it's your bedroom. Because she's still kind of like tripping.
Right.
And she's like, this has got everything you need here. And then she starts packing her on with all that shit.
And then she gives her a snow globe and she gives her a teddy bear and everything.
She's
like,
turning into the new Lady Junk.
right. And then she's like, this is all fucking junk. And then that lady, the goblin, she says, well, what about just randomly grab some? What about this? This ain't junk. This is nice.
Right.
And she's like, no, fuck.
All of it's junk. She leaves.
then that's when Ludo and Hoggle and those guys break down the door and they're like, hey, we got a baby to save.
She's like, oh yeah, I was going to just stay in here
She's
forever.
like, fuck, I forgot for a second. I don't know
Weird
what happened.
junk. And then Ludo's like, I poisoned you. I'm fucking sorry.
No, it was Hoggle. Actually, Hoggle
Or
shows up
Hoggle,
later again because they get to the door and that dog is just banging on the door like, let us in, motherfucker. And she's like, be quiet, you know? Then they go through the main door.
And that's when that big robot guy shows up. And he's going to fuck him up. And then Hoggle shows up and jumps onto them straight up, Willow style.
Yeah.
Clinks the top off of the robot and then beats them guys up.
Yeah, and throws him out. And he jumps down.
He's like, I'm so sorry I poisoned you, but I kind of helped.
Right. And she's like, that's that half hole again I'm talking about. It's like, fucking commit, man.
He's like, I'm trying.
You're fucking teasing the fuck out of me right now.
So, yeah, then they're like in the town at this point, and then David Bowie's just like propped up looking like a badass on the steps just hanging out with his ball.
Ball and the baby, and he's like, what's up, Toby? What's up, Crystal Ball?
And then like his lieutenant runs in, and he's like, hey, you remember that fucking girl? And he's like, vaguely. And he's
That was like 12 hours ago.
She's in the fucking town. And he's like, what the fuck?
Sound the alarm.
Sound the alarm and put that baby somewhere.
Get all them goblins out there. Do shit. Don't let rocks in the town. Whatever you do, keep the rocks away.
Try to keep the damage to a minimum as well. And they just come out with like the cavalry, tanks and all sorts of shit.
Right, they've got goblins on
Rocket
dinosaurs.
launchers.
They've got exploding bombs. They literally have goblins that are fucking cannonballs with spikes on them. And yeah, they fuck up some stuff. But as we know, Ludo saves the day again.
Yeah,
with
he
the
calls
rocks.
his rock friends.
Oh, this is when the cowardly dog comes out, is like in this town.
Yeah.
Because it's always hiding.
Because the dog, they get surrounded. The dog's like, fuck no. And he just runs off and hides in a house. And then.
First they're running off, and he's like, I will never feed you again if you don't stop.
Oh, yeah. He's like, hurt. Stops.
Fine.
Fine. But he runs back, and then he rides into him, and he's like, I challenge you all. And he starts fighting. And that's when he's like, you realize that Didymus, he's a scrapper. He's getting in there and like, just punch.
Imagine giving him like 2 shots of whiskey, how much of a fighter he'd be. I mean, he's talking shit already.
Mm-hmm.
But
then the dog runs off, and then they all get kind of surrounded, and then they all like go in that one house, right?
Right.
And then what happens from there?
Then he busts the roof off the house, and that's when he calls the rocks.
He calls the rocks, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then the rocks come in and just start crushing.
Owning shit.
It's like, oh, what's stronger, this giant boulder or you, goblin? The goblins try.
Yeah.
To a point.
Yeah, those rocks crushed the shit out of all of the goblins and murdered the entire town.
Yeah, I think that they blew up one rock, and then that one rock's little rocks just, not the...
Hydra rocks.
Yeah.
Blow up me, and I'll turn into 10 of me.
Yep.
And then Sarah runs off, and she's like, I'm going to get in here and find the baby. And then
I have to do it alone.
Yeah, and that's when the little, like, uppy, downy, sideways, upside down stair room
Right,
is.
like their little illusion poster.
Yeah.
And you got Jareth just walking around, and you got that baby just not giving a fuck. He's like, I'll walk off this ledge.
Yep.
I'll curl around this pole. And she's like, fuck, what's going on?
He's all about walking off ledges. And then David Bowie's like, everything I did it for you. And she's like, is that from fucking Robin Hood? He's like, yes.
And he's like, look, all you have to do is obey me, do what I say, and I'll be your slave.
And give me a pearl necklace. And she's like, what is it with you guys? You keep saying it wrong.
Look, in the Labyrinth, things just happen differently, okay? So then she says the words, and he's like, don't fucking do it. And then she's like, fuck, I can't remember the words.
He's like, I know, you never remember him.
Yeah, I've been watching you. I'm an owl.
And then he like sings that song, which is probably one of my favorite songs, that song at the end. I really like that one.
Right.
And then she's like, oh yeah, you have no power here. And he's like, fuck.
You have no power over me.
Yeah.
You have no power here. It's like a fucking total Lord of the Rings thing. He's like,
yeah.
Bitch, please. I got the white cloak on. Jareth throws off this gray jacket and has a white one on with the big white beard. And he's like, sorry, man.
Right.
I have the power.
That'd be cool if he looked like that old
the old bag lady.
No, that old guy from Lord of the Rings. He's like, ha ha ha. The guy that's being possessed by Saruman.
Right.
Like Jareth looked like that, and then she was Gandalf, and then she broke his curse. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then Jareth turned into like Donny Osmond from New Kids on the Block. She's like, fuck, I'll stay.
So what was the name of that town in Lord of the Rings? Was it River Run?
No, River Run is from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
Not Rivendell. It's Theramore.
Nope, that's from World of Warcraft. I don't remember what he's from. Oh well, doesn't
Rohan.
matter. Rohan, yeah.
That's the land. I don't remember the actual town, but they were the writers of Rohan.
Right.
Anyways.
Doesn't matter.
How many fucking nerd names can we say?
Right, just all of them.
Meet me at the bar in Bowerstone.
Right.
The tavern in Bowerstone. So anyway, she saves the baby, and she gets back, and she's like, fuck, Toby. Glad you're not crying anymore, but let's kind of keep that on the down low, too. Don't tell anybody that I got you kidnapped.
Yeah. If you tell anybody about this, I'm going to just have him take you again.
I'll fucking say the words again. He's like, bitch, please. I wanted to stay.
Yeah. Do you know how many cool things I could walk on there?
Yeah.
Like 7.
I got yogurt all day, goblins to play with, and there was a one-eyed dog.
His name is Theoden.
Theoden. Oh, Theoden. Yeah, the king.
Uh-huh.
You're still on that thing?
Yeah.
Figure out the town? So, you got anything else for Labyrinth?
Legend is better.
Legend is better. I think we'll do Legend in our next season. What do you think?
I love it.
So before we let everybody go, let's remind everybody to go to our website, www.that'sbasicallythe80s.com with an 80s.
Mm-hmm.
On there, you can find all of our episodes. You can find our Patreon link, and you can send us emails. And so, as always, share and let everybody know about this. Leave us comments and send us some messages.
Hell yeah.
And on that note, I also have another correction.
Okay.
Because we did talk about Emilio Estevez before.
Emilio.
We've done 6 Emilio movies.
Right, not 5.
Not 3, not 4, not 5, actual 6. And I know this because I've counted them like 4 times the other day. I'm like, fuck, I got to count all these to get this right. I'm like, fuck, there's a 6th one? Wait, I got to start over. Then I went from the back all the way through them again. I'm like, pretty sure that was 6, but I better go try one more time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're literally at 6 Emilio movies.
Shit.
So
we got to get him on the show then.
Yep.
At some point.
Yep, coming up.
So what should we watch next week?
Well, do you want to just do something fun, or do you want to do our Patreon movie?
We probably need to do our Patreon movie because we've been talking about doing it for a while.
All right, well, this one's from BJ, our newest Patreon,
yes.
And he wants us to watch a ass-kicking movie with none other than Chuck motherfucking Norris. And
Bowflex commercial.
That's right. The whole movie is just going to be a big Bowflex commercial. Oh, sir, can you afford 10,000 easy payments of $2.99?
Sure can.
No, we're going to do Lone Wolf McQuade.
Hell yeah.
You know, that Texas Ranger life.
Love it.
You know what that is?
That's basically the 80s.